The week that was for March 30th, 2025. Paul Shaughnessy, Cody Saftik here on the Bookie Beatdown YouTube channel. Looking back on the past week, as always, like the regionals absolutely popped off the chain. Lots of great wins. The LFA card was awesome. You shared a lot of great BKFC stuff, and then UFC. It's just like some winning spots, some losing spots, which we're about to break down right here for you. Yeah, great week for me. How about you, Code?
Yeah, well, honestly, like you said, the regional side of things, it felt like this week things were really clicking. Now, there are a couple bad picks here and there, but I looked at the bulk of it, and it's like we're 89% of correct picks. The certain order sometimes it's like, oh, I had this guy in the third line, or oh, Jonah Chip Chase had that cut stoppage, which cost us a huge. But yeah, honestly, like we've been putting a lot of time and a lot of research in, and to see these little underdog plays back to back plus 190s cash, like nothing. First round knockouts for both of them. FCR was good, LFA was good, and then rolling into the UFC props were pretty good. And then I at least was able to hit the top two lines over on there. So yeah, as a whole, I would say solid week. If I could just have good weeks like that all the time, you don't need one colossal week and 5 bad weeks. Just give me weeks like this all the time, Paul. I will not complain. But of course, this is a UFC recap, and we've got 12 fights. I was going to say 13, but Kelvin Gastelum, Piper got canceled last minute. So yeah, 12 good fights to get through.
Yeah, and if you're interested in getting in on the regional side of things, the link is in the description on YouTube there to head on over to the Patreon. Everything drops in the Discord, which is connected to, once you get into the Patreon, you'll go into the tab, you'll figure out how to connect yourself to the Discord, because that's where a lot of this stuff, all the content drops on Patreon, a lot of the written stuff and engagement, good times happen over in the Discord. But if you're not interested in that, we're going to give you your recap of UFC Mexico City. All right, opening fight, we've got Mederos taking on Hubbard, split decision. It was a bit of a rough start for me, Codes. Actually, I lost, I think, $100 on this fight, but I was very close to winning like $3,800 on this fight. Game of inches, really. Because I was on Hubbard money line, Hubbard by split decision, and then fight ends in split decision. So fight ended in split decision. It was very, very back and forth. Mederos wins round 1, Hubbard round 2, and then Hubbard, I feel like, was winning the first half of round 3, and just so it's like I wasn't really like, people were like, oh man, that sucks so bad. And it's just like, I don't know. The way I look at it is like I made good bets. They didn't necessarily click the way I needed them to. So I was happy with. I wasn't happy with the result. I was happy with my play here, though. What do you think about this fight?
Yeah, as on a fight standpoint, I thought that they got the decision right. It felt like the very close first round, but I thought like Markel Mederos just kind of controlled a little bit better, landed some better shots. He wins the first round. Second round, it's like Hubbard goes for this takedown, ends up on the back, and it's like a weird back take. It looks like he's off to the side, and yet he maintains that back take for like 4.5 minutes, Paul. His legs must have been exhausted, but second round, Hubbard all day. No damage, not enough to make it 10-8, but he 100% wins the second. And then in the third, it's just like you said. Now, the tough part about control time over damage is control time could take 3-4 minutes, whereas damage could take 3-4 seconds. And we see a lot of fights where somebody's losing the first half, the first 3 minutes, the first 4 minutes, and there's one great moment, and it might cause damage, and there might be blood, or there might be some swelling, or the guy limps a little bit off of a leg kick, and all of a sudden it just erases everything that's been done in the first half. So Hubbard did start at the second round. He shot the takedown. He got into the clinch. He was wearing on him. He landed some decent punches as well. He's winning. It's a botched takedown. Markel Mederos ends up on top for not even long, but he smashes Hubbard with like half a dozen elbows, one of which splits the side of Hubbard's head open. There's blood now. There's damage. There's a sense that Mederos has won that round. Yeah, I had Hubbard, but I did score the fight for Markel Mederos. Now we had earmarked this one on the weigh-in show as a fight that's going to go the distance. So why not have it as a split decision? So for that to hit as a split decision, that was great. The over 2.5 minus 260, that was great. Fight outright goes to decision. But yes, there was some Hubbard action there as well. So he gets greased on a split. Whenever I get a guy that's plus 135 in a 50-50 fight that plays out as a 50-50 fight where he loses a split decision, which he otherwise could have won with just maybe one better choice in the third round, I'm never going to apologize for those. I don't feel bad taking the shot. He's low end on the parlays this week. but also the props were the main thing, and those were the overs, and those at least did hit. So not a great way to start the card, not the world's worst way to start a card. But yeah, Hubbard did what we thought he'd do. It just, unfortunately, he was on the wrong end of a split decision.
Yeah, I had plus 161. Plus 160, on the money line for Hubbard, and then I had him 9-1 by split decision, and 4-1 fight ends in split decision. So it's just like I almost absolutely just, like laser guided heat seeking missile type of hit it. And it's just like that's the name of the game. It's just like I am not mad about any of the bets that I made on the fight. Just like sometimes those pop, sometimes they don't. But long term, if you make bets like that, you will win long term. Moving on down. I mean, if you just fade Miranda or bet unders in his fights, the mustachioed man.
Oh man.
Not entirely sure if he can really hang around this level. I look forward to seeing him on the regional shows because those will be fun. Like get this guy back in like LFA or something like that, and we can have a good time.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Emmers at 350 earlier in the week. It's like, this is a guy that I want some Emmers action. And so we load up early in the week, but I don't know. Everybody was obviously on him. He goes to like minus 500, minus 550. Then there's a sense that it's like, ooh, Emmers is really not all that good. He's a tad bit chinny. His submission defense at times could be problematic. And a mile high up in the air at altitude, I don't know that I necessarily trust his cardio. So he's not the most trustworthy guy when you got a minus 550 ticket. But we're all betting him, not because we love Emmers. We just think Miranda's going to go take an absolute nap, which, eventually did happen. But, I mean, kudos to Miranda. He comes out and he's swinging. Not that he almost caught him with anything, but he was trying to be as violent as possible. Shoots an early takedown, somewhat gets it. And then he got so greedy for that rear naked choke that he tried to grab it before he was even on the back. He slides off to the side. He adjusts it to a head and arm choke off his back, which can be finished. But shit, you'd have to be real strong. And the guy on top of you would have to have at least a little bit of quit in him. Emmers roughed out that bad position. And then as soon as he got out of it, he ends up on top. He just stands up, says, stand with me. And then one of the guys in the group chat, he was like, it looks like Gabriel Miranda just skipped striking class. It was hilarious because, that's what it looked like. Like he's not comfortable in the striking range at all. He is a little bit chinny. And so when you can't strike and you can't take a punch, at some point you're going over. Kudos to him. He took a few good ones that wobbled him, but didn't necessarily put him away. But Emmers just, he could basically sense the blood in the water and never really relented on him. The only weird thing is Emmers knocks out Miranda. Everybody's happy, except for Emmers' two cornermen almost fight in the corner, as if they were like arguing all fight about what he should do. Whatever he chose to do is obviously the winning strategy. And then his two cornermen almost scrap right after he won the fight. So kind of weird, but for Emmers, listen, I don't think that there's like the most upside here. He's 35 years old. He still has a lot of flaws to his game, but if you're going to match him up with someone that really can't take a punch, it's like, yeah, he'll have his moment. And then for Miranda, an 0-3 start showed he cannot wrestle at all against other opponents, and then has shown that he really can't take any damage in this striking realm. What is he, a one-trick pony with his jiu-jitsu? And his jiu-jitsu is really not all that good, so he's got one hell of a mustache. He's the kind of guy that's going to be minus 350 in his next fight on an LFA card and then may get knocked out and shit the apple pie for you. So Miranda is who he is, but for Emmers, quality victory. But again, he's fighting a low-level guy that's been known to get put away. So buyer beware on Emmers going forward. This doesn't make him a contender by no means.
Moving on down. Interim hell, Pichel loses by unanimous decision. There were a couple 30-27s in there, which is just,
I don't know why the 30-27
disgusting. How do you give him round two? But I had him plus 375. Another bet that is like, I don't think I did anything wrong there. Like these are you bet enough plus 375s in that type of situation. Long term, they will pop. It is a profitable proposition. It is what it is. I thought Vince did his best. I wasn't upset with the decision, but I also really don't think that Rafa won so clearly. Fair be fair, I would say I was 75% focused on this because we had BKFC going on. We had like other regional stuff going on all at the same time. Like this period of the afternoon was just like, it was tough to like keep your focus because it was just like, there was just too much going on there. There's BKFC. I think the FCR was over. I think
FCR ended around 2.
Yeah.
BKFC started at 3.
But
It was
BKFC
like
was in full
BKFC
force
started
at
at
that point.
3, full force. Yeah, and then WoW from Spain started, which is
I was
also
watching
on
WoW
Fight
as
Pass.
well. So it's like
Yeah,
it was just so I was watching. I thought he won round 2 like pretty definitively, and so did everybody in the Discord there. But yeah, another one just like went to decision, had a big plus money ticket, and didn't get the nod. But I'm not going to kill myself on losing that ticket.
Yeah, so this is another one that I know I called them non-violence, just meaning that it's going to hit overs and it's going to go to decision. It doesn't mean it's not going to be a good fight. It doesn't mean there's not going to be a scrap. It's just you have enough respect for both guys' durabilities and not enough respect for both guys' finishing abilities that it's going to be a 15-minute fight, or at least an over 2.5 was what we usually go with. So for Rafa Garcia, he was minus 500. I know Vince Pichel took a lot of late steam, so the number ended up coming down to like minus 400. But this is another one, Paul, that we earmarked. Yeah, 320. That's a lot of action, to be honest. I mean, it definitely moved around there, especially late. But the point being is that the over 2.5 rounds it's a better price than the Rafa Garcia money line, and it kind of covers you on both sides. You're getting a better number anyways. And if Rafa wins,
good point.
He's not putting Vince Pichel away. And if Vince wins, he's just going to grind him. Like, not grind him up against the cage, but just grind him down like I do a little bit more than you do. And it's a war of attrition, and I slightly go ahead. But we're going 15 minutes. So, again, another thing that I mentioned on the weigh-in show was that you can have Rafa. At that time, he was minus 400, or minus 450, sorry. Or you could have the Rafa by decision at minus 180. So that's what we ended up locking in, was the Rafa by decision. He won the first round, was close, but he got a takedown right at the end of it, like 30 seconds left, 45 seconds left. That sealed it. The second round, he's landing the better shots. Like, they show the punch stats at one point. It's like Rafa's outlanding him to the head, Vince to the head. Vince is outlanding him to the body and to the legs. A lot of body kicks. So visually, it looks like Rafa's landing the better strikes in the second round. But numerically, Vince is outworking him. He lands twice as many significant strikes as Rafa does. Yes, they're not flashy punches to the face, but, body kicks definitely add up as well and cause some damage. So I kind of thought it was 1-1 going into the third. Two judges disagree. They had Rafa up 2-0. I can see what they're seeing, the more damaging blows from Rafa. But was Vince stumbling around? No. Was Vince bleeding everywhere? No. So what was more damaging about punches to the face than big kicks to the body? Twice as many kicks to the body. I'm not entirely sure. So in my mind, it was 1-1 going into the third, and Rafa looked tired. So at this point, Rafa's going to gas. I've seen him gas before against bums like Grootsmacher. Now they're at altitude, and Vince is a dog. He's not going to go anywhere. But kudos to Rafa. He found his second win in that third round and was just like, listen, I got 5 minutes left. It is close-ish. I just got to go for it. And so he wasn't able to take Vince down, but consistently. But he's able to sprinkle in a couple good, decent shots, and then mostly just come forward, land those right hands, but just do a little bit more in that third round. So I thought Rafa got the win. The biggest thing was that the fight just went to decision, but the Rafa winning by decision, hitting that that minus 180, sorry, that was good. So 3 fights into the card, all I've lost is an Austin Hubbard split decision. I'm feeling good at that point. We're working our way to Christian Rodriguez, which is the first, dent. But I know you were on Vince, and admirably so. Vince did his thing, but they mentioned, I think he's the oldest fighter, definitely on the card, but maybe the oldest lightweight on the roster at 42 years old. The guy's a war horse, but the line's starting to approach him.
Yeah. I mean, Vince was a good bet at plus 375. I don't really care.
I thought he gave himself a good.
I don't really care. Like winning or losing is like besides the point. It's just like you get a good number, it closes way shorter, and you have a fight like that. It's just like that's really all I look at the end of the day. It's like rather than results based, like whether he had a legitimate chance, and I would say he did. Moving on down, we got Godinez defeats Polastri. I had this by split decision. That was not good. I also very, very chalky, but had the over 2.5 in this, and I guess there was a few dicey situations, but that got to the window, which I didn't have too much investment in this fight. But yeah, Godinez won a lot more cleanly, I would probably say, than I expected, particularly early. Polastri had some success in round 3.
Yeah, I'll be honest. This was the point of the night where I was paying way more attention to the BKFC
Yeah,
side of
fair.
things. But it did look to me like Godinez mostly just used her grappling, was able to just rack up control time. She didn't really do tons on top, but I mean, you're spending a lot of time on top of your opponent. You're gonna rack up points in the judges' eyes, and that's kind of what she did. The first couple rounds, her striking looked okay. Like she was able to strike with Polastri. Is that she's fighting the winning game plan of mixing in the grappling. But by the second and third round, she started definitely looking a little more lethargic, just relied a lot more on slowing the fight down. And in the third round, she's tired and she's eating damage. But again, it's like Polastri doesn't have enough to knock her out. This one, I would be all, yeah, the overhit again. But it was like minus 600. Like, I think everybody figured this one was going to decision. And so there wasn't really a ton to be made there. Loopy won. She was much better on the money line than that fight goes the distance. But it's women's MMA at altitude. Loopy's on short notice. Polastri's somewhat on short notice. Not the original fight that was booked for either girl. He didn't really know how it was going to play out. I would say Polastri's striking looks okay, but there's a huge hole in her game here with grappling. And for Godinez, she's a generalist. She can strike and she can grapple, and she didn't really want to strike with Polastri last night. So she just relied on her secondary skill, which is grinding opponents down, taking them down, racking up control time. And whereas it hasn't been working lately, you're taking on Mackenzie Dern, you're taking on Verna Jandaroba, you go grappling them and grinding them, likely ain't going to happen. Julia Polastri ain't those girls. So it was a winning game plan, and kudos to her. One of those in hindsight should have loaded up on Godinez, right? But, looking back on it, again, women's MMA, short notice, not the most trustworthy girl. You and I discussed at length. Her ring IQ is very questionable at times, and I thought she looked like shit in the third round. So it wasn't like it was the easiest pick in the world, but yeah, she cashed with compared to some of these other fights. Yeah, she cashed relatively clean.
100%. All right, moving on down. We have. Oh, where'd you go? There we are. Sorry, got a lot going on here. Costa, Rodriguez. This was like the biggest trap line of the week. I got caught in the trap. Don't get me wrong. But Costa, Rodriguez. I just saw everybody and their mother had money on Rodriguez. The number really didn't budge all week. Even on like the weigh-in show that we did on Friday, I'm like, something's like fishy about this one. I think even on Dogger Pass, we said like something, it just seems too easy. What are we missing? And Rodriguez was able to get like takedowns and stuff, and it's kind of like generally like out muscled. Like Melk's a pretty big boy in there. What were your thoughts on this?
This one was frustrating. Again, you could hound up the old, it went the over and all this, but let's just talk about the actual fight for what it was. Yeah, Christian Rodriguez should have won this fight. Minus 160 as a money line was a good money line. Everyone calls him the prospect killer, and in my opinion, he's already beaten better guys than Milk Costa. So this should have been a fairly straightforward fight for him. Now, even though he's a striker, he always wants to strike. When you watch tape on him, when you're not trying to take him down, he'll try to take you down. So I knew he would try to mix that in versus Milk. I just thought the game plan was primarily going to be strike your way into these takedowns. He came out early in the first round and he didn't even try to strike. He just immediately tries to take Costa down. So Costa, who I don't rate his takedown defense, he knew right away, this is a grappling match, and he was really just waiting to grapple the entire time. Should have just kind of caught him off guard and baited him into a lull of sorts. You can see Duke Rufus there with him shouting instructions, but the kid didn't really seem to respond. In the first round, I gave it to Mel Costa for no other reason than even though he just wasn't getting taken down. He was strong up against the fence. When they did separate, he's landing a couple decent shots. He's landing some knees within short distance. Christian Rodriguez is trying to lean on him, but he's not getting anything going. Second round, I score for Rodriguez. Sorry, first round, super close. Second round, I score for Milk. So at this point, I could be down 2-0. It could be 1-1. Christian Rodriguez wins the third round. So I knew it was going to be a really close round. I'm hoping the judges are going to give it first round and third round for Christian. But I personally score this thing 2-0 going into the third. So I feel like Mel Costa did actually win it. There's a chance that the guy's Mexican-American, and there's a chance that the judges were looking at control time over damage in that first round. This is not a robbery. This is not I might be able to grease out a fight that I don't believe I won, but maybe the judges do. But it just wasn't meant to be, so I'm not going to be upset about it because I thought the guy lost. But this is one of those fights where There's moments in the second round, for example, he takes down Costa. Okay, perfect. This is a round that he loses. But he takes down Costa. We're exactly where we want to be. He gets up on top. This is great. He goes for a Darce choke. And in going for this Darce choke, he gives up top position to Costa, who then softens him up with better ground and pound, gets back up, lands a few better shots, and wins the round. I understand everyone's trying to be entertaining. I understand that there's a live crowd. I understand they're booing a really good fight like Erceg Moreno, saying how boring it is. Like, I understand there's a lot of expectations and you want to get a bonus and you want all this and that. But like, winning, especially if I'm betting on you, winning is the most important thing. And so certain times you'll see, like, I always use the example of Ciryl Gane versus Francis Ngannou. Ciryl Gane's about to win the fight. And he drops back on a flimsy ass ankle lock, Achilles hold in the 5th round to give Francis top position if Francis wins the fight. Like, what are you thinking? Christian wasn't that bad. It wasn't on pulling guillotine and constantly giving up top position, but he got the takedowns. He did. And then he would get so aggressive with going right to full mount and smashing him with the very first elbow he can that he would just like spin himself off. This was scramble, 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 scramble. Christian needed to slow down the pace and hold position instead of constantly trying to advance and grab onto something like position before submission. He went the opposite. He's just trying to latch onto something before anything's set up, and it's allowing Costa to scramble. It was still a close fight. It was still a competitive fight, but he lost a fight that he otherwise could have won. These guys fought again next week. These guys fought again next month. These guys fought again 10 times. I'm certain Christian Rodriguez can win in that fight. But on Saturday night, he didn't put his best foot forward, and unfortunately, he came up short. So I have no one to blame. The fight goes the distance, or the over 2.5 is a parachute of sorts. But straight up, I had Christian Rodriguez as a pick. He's on my parlays. I think he's going to win, and he didn't. Can't apologize for it. He did it to himself. Wasn't like it was like, ooh, I picked that guy, and he's absolutely awful. It's like, yeah, he just fought a bad game plan. Still ended up being close. He was on the wrong side of things. So really nothing you can do there. But for Rodriguez, he's got to reevaluate himself because he's going to be a gatekeeper. He's going to be like, hey, test these really good prospects and see if they're really good prospects or not. And then anybody that's actually like a legitimate top 10 guy, he can't really seem to get by. Even the fights that he wins, whether it be, the Raul Rosas fight or, he took on the Midwest Choppa in a fight I thought he lost. He's losing parts of those rounds, but he makes it work in the end. No real big finishing ability, no big submission game, no big knockout game. He's able to win more rounds than you. And so he's not the most entertaining guy. He's not going to be the most fan-friendly, biggest fan favorite. And if you can't even squeak out a guy like Costa, it really leaves a lot to be desired where your potential is, so to speak. So 27, I still think he's good, but he's falling into untrustworthy territory because you're not really sure that he can stick to the proper game plan that's necessary.
Atiba goat.
Oh,
I murder. This kid's good. This kid's good. Athletic profile off the charts. 22 years old. Hardly had any training. And now he's starting to get that training. Watch out. Because Atiba Goat Train is coming through. I
gotta get on the shoey here.
This guy's gonna be really good. This guy's gonna be really good, Cody. He reminds me of Ngannou. He's like middleweight Ngannou. It's like it doesn't look great on tape, and like especially with Ngannou, it's like some of his earlier stuff. You're just like, this guy doesn't look very good on tape, but it's just like he's such an athlete. What he has, you can't teach. And then once you actually teach him to do the things that other people do, it's a bad time for even guys like Medina who had never been knocked out. A little shoey action. Cody is a man of his word, always paying off his bets. But yeah, I'm done patting myself on the back. Gautier was in like a whole ton of different parlays and stuff. I did worry about the durability. Can we go to the decision and altitude a little bit? But he was. I had him all over the place in every way, every which way possible. And he ended up being a big. I mean, if you listen to any of our shows this week, it was very clear that Paul Shag liked himself some Atiba Gautier. Sorry, I didn't finish that.
Now you're not usually as assertive as you were with this guy all week, and I'm trying to tell you, like, I don't think so, Paul. And instead of like, oh, really, you don't? You're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, if it gets late, and you're like, it's not gonna go late. He's not only is he gonna win, he's gonna win by knockout. Not only is he gonna win and win by knockout, he's gonna win by knockout in the first round, and it's gonna be violent. It's like, whatever, Paul. And it turns out Paul was right. Again, the Francis Ngannou comparison is so perfect because when Francis came to the UFC, there was also a lot of people that were like, who the hell is this guy? And Paul coined the term Frankie Murder, and it was his guy. And that, like,
now it's a Tiba goat is what I call him now.
Atiba the goat Gautier. Yeah, I like because he's only 22 years old. The potential is certainly there. Is he a refined product right now? Like, no.
6'4", 81-inch reach at middleweight with that type of muscle tone. He's gonna end up at light heavyweight eventually, but like somebody with that athletic profile will crush light heavyweight as well.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. It's like wait until he fills himself out, and I don't really rate Team Nogueira in Dubai, but either at some point he goes in and gets to better places, or what do I know? They're so rich they can just tailor make a whole team around Team Gautier Dubai and just bring in guys for him. He's definitely a scary prospect. Now, I'm hoping he's just going to go out there and swing for the fences and then realize, oh man, I got a lot of muscle. I'm young. I'm inexperienced. I'm tired. Medina's going to take over. This kid looked like just dialed in, man. He was not overreaching. He wasn't overextending. He wasn't throwing wild shots. He just moved at him like a goddamn predator tracking you through the jungle, right? And it's like, I'm trying to do something, but he's just like laser in on me, man. He knows what I'm doing. He's got like heat-seeking recognition, and Medina's a bum. We know that. Not picking him because I think he's better skill for skill. It's just I'm thinking this thing goes over 1.5, which I had some action on. And then I took a plus 650 Medina by decision, hoping it just goes late. Guy gets tired. No good. Gautier looked like he could knock him out at whatever point he chose. Like he was taking his time, but whenever he threw, it was landing. And Medina's smiling and Medina's hot dogging. And then I got through the first 3 minutes. Like there's under 2 minutes left in the first. I got it's a 1.5, over 1.5. So I'm like, okay, just get out of the first. We got a real good shot here. And there's like a minute 45 left. And then Medina just backs up to the cage like, he don't want him run anymore, you know. Gautier hits him twice, and I will fault Medina for this. He gets hit twice, and he just leans forward. Like, just take the punches upright. You might be able to survive this last 1.5 minutes. But he leans upright, and Gautier just puts a knee right up the middle and puts him down. Kudos to Medina. He jumps right back up. They stop it. He's telling the ref, like, I'm good to go. I'm good to go. But it's like, that ref just saved you a lifetime of trauma, dude. Because it wasn't going to get no better. And if we're hoping this guy slows down, he ain't going to slow down because he hasn't done anything. He's thrown 12 punches, and they've all landed flush. So, Paul's got a new Frankie Murder on his hands. They book this guy appropriately, he's going to go on a good little streak here. If they book him inappropriately, he can still just knock the guy out because he's gonna embody puncher's chance. Like give him guys that are better than him, he can still beat them, but build him up 22, build him up till he's 26, 27. You got a serious potential star on your hands, especially because 205 is so bad. If he moves there, what's stopping him from being an Alex Pereira type or the whole division strikers really for the most part? And then at middleweight, it's like, is he beating Chimaev? Like, no. Is he beating Dricus Duplessis? No. In 5 years' time, Chimaev fights once a year. His body can't take it. Dricus is, in his 30s now. In 5 years' time, when this kid's 27 and they're all gone, yeah, that's his time, dude. So Paul Shaughnessy finds he found another one.
In the great words of RTS, who hadn't popped in, I don't think he popped in yesterday.
No, I didn't see Ryan. Yeah,
we missed him in the chat. People have been bullying him a little bit. He dishes it, so it's like he can take it, but it's like he can take it. Yeah, he bullies other people. In fairness, like I think RTS gets it. Like when he gets the action coming back at him, but he wasn't really in the chat yesterday. But in the words of the great RTS, Atiba goat, learn to love it. Moving on down. Boy, great dog play by you here, Codes. Why don't you take it away? Borjas.
Yeah, Borjas.
And like he won very easily. I had this hand by split decision, which was a losing prop, and frankly, it's like the only way that the Rodriguez was ever gonna get it was by like blind robbery, to be perfectly honest.
So lost some on Christian Rodriguez, but the over 2.5 made it okay. But then Medina, the over 1.5 not hitting killed some stuff. And so you should just lock it in and let it ride. Still got lots of action going. I'm a degenerate. So I'm like, I need to rebuild. And then Borjas, Dog, sure, but also just the over 2.5. I'm going to take this over 2.5, which is a good price. So I went with that. And we talked about Rodriguez missing weight on the weigh-in show, misses by 1 pound. Comes out, kind of looking sideways, doesn't look great, gets on the scale. This is at altitude. He's not going to be able to push a pace. He comes out in the first round. Borjas drops him with like the first right hand he throws. Like nasty work. And then I got over 2.5 tickets. So I'm like, win, but don't win like this. Oh no. Rodriguez pops right back up. They get slanging. Borjas drops him again. Rodriguez hits the deck. Oh no, Rodriguez pops right back up. He did the same thing versus Ode Osborne. He gets dropped with the right hand and he just springs back up. He's one of these guys that I would say has a good chin. Mexican chin, doesn't get knocked out, but he sure does get knocked down a lot. For whatever reason, the first 2 ones knock him down, and after that, he takes about 45 punches, as good, if not better, and doesn't hit the deck. So Borjas fought a good game plan in that he's Peruvian, so cardio was never going to be an issue. He's a flyweight, it's likely not going to be an issue. But he mostly just held his ground. Beautiful right hand, and just would time it. Rodriguez would be outworking him. He'd be coming forward. He'd be landing some good shots. He's throwing wild wheel kicks. Borjas steps back, plants him with the right hand, plants him with the right hand, plants him with the right hand. First round, because there's 2 knockdowns, he wins it all day. Second round's closer, but he lands the better shots. Third round, again, it's close. Rodriguez cardio, it checked out for a bad weight cut. He was coming forward the whole time. He was pressuring him. Borjas is landing the better shots. Now we go to decision. It's flyweight. I think this is 30-27. Borjas 29-28 at absolute worst. But we got to rely on the judges getting this thing right because hometown cooking and flyweight fight and competitive enough. Wasn't like this is a walk in the park. But the judges got it right. So I can't take any fault off them. Borjas plus 145 hits. We're cool with that underdog play. The over 2.5 hit. That was good. I should have gotten greedy and taken the Borjas by decision, but it wasn't like, I don't know. Pre-fight, it was like, that's not the kind of thing I think I want to get too invested in. Always easier in hindsight. I should have done this. But it's like you had Borjas and you had fight goes the distance. Why didn't you have a Borjas by decision? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Doesn't matter. At least we get back on track from Rodriguez losing and then Medina getting absolutely funky co-Medina'd in the middle of the cage in 3 minutes. Borjas hitting as an underdog in enemy territory. One of my Peruvian guys, because I'm always talking so highly about them. That felt good. That was a good way to jump back on track.
100%. And we kept the good times rolling. Team effort at this point in the show. Martinez, Oliveira. We said on the show, we really liked the Martinez kid. I had him loaded up in a whole bunch of play. He went to like minus 360 at one point during the week. So it's like I loaded a whole bunch there. There was still like minus 440s in some of the tickets and stuff that I shared in the Discord last night. Yeah, I didn't get it. And then I loaded it up on the under 2.5 was like minus 105. I'm like, well, this is a Simon Oliveira fight. Like, I know that like, and I think you had Martinez by KO. So it's like you had a similar. The reason I took the under 2.5 is because I was just like, if Oliveira somehow manages to win, it's going to be like a submission or something, or it's going to be something high velocity. He's going to finish him off. If this thing gets extended, it's going to like Martinez is winning a decision. Martinez can also win by any way that he damn well wants, and that's kind of how it played out. So another big winner, David Martinez is for real. Kind of reminded me of the Marcos fight, which is what we said on the show, like all the shows this week. It's like it was a similar matchup for Oliveira as Daniel Marcos, but like Martinez may be better, to be perfectly honest, than Daniel Marcos, and that's high praise.
Yeah, that's why watching the show is always going to be better than waiting around for 2-3 more days and waiting for picks to come out on Twitter. Martinez is minus 360 when we do the show, and we say he's top ticket, he's winning this week, he's your guy. You put him at the top. If you wait 3 days, I don't want to watch the show, which is fair. Some people don't have time. I get that. But if you're just, I don't want to watch the show, that's fine. Fight day, he's minus 800. So people will tell me like, oh, the top ticket, you hit the top ticket on Twitter, but didn't pay that well. Dog, if you would have bet this thing a few days ago when we told you to, it was a much better price. Martinez at 360 was all day the lock of the week on this particular card. Once he got to minus 800, it was just a reflection of everyone's now realized, oh man, this guy's going to kill him. Now, the first like minute and a half, it doesn't look like anything special. He's moving his feet. He's kind of staying back. It's like Oliveira's coming forward. I'm thinking to myself, this is kind of through 90 seconds. This is kind of looking like it's going to be a competitive fight, more competitive than I thought. And it's like as soon as Martinez just gets those reads, downloads that information, and decides like, okay, now it's time for me to throw. He threw a few, and Oliveira right away is just visibly disturbed by it. This kid hits hard. He's 26. He's a multiple-time karate champion, multiple-time kickboxing champion. He's been training since he was 2 years old. Now, whenever you hear about kids like, oh, they've been training since they were 4, everyone always says 4. Seems like 4 is the age where like a kid can really start training seriously. But I got a 2-year-old, and I'm telling you, like if you were Tiger Woods' dad level committed to teaching that kid something at 2, they can figure it out. There's always a bad sibling and a good sibling. Melissa Martinez is really not that good. So David's the good sibling, and man, when you looked at
good Martinez.
He's good Martinez. And 3 of his last 4 wins are by knockout. They're all better guys than Oliveira. Mm-hmm. And on the Contender Series, he goes to decision against Xavier Franklin, who's also better than Oliveira.
And had never been knocked out, which are all points that we brought up.
Yes, yeah, and all points we brought up. So this one, it's like whenever you're like, oh, I got that one bad, but I was close, or I got that one wrong and I was way off. When you get one right, sometimes it's like, oh, I got that one right, but I really thought he'd wrestle and he struck instead. This one, it's like, yeah, we were 100% on that, both of us. Martinez is going to win. He's going to look good doing it. He's going to knock out Oliveira. Oliveira hasn't fought in 2 years. He shouldn't be there. He's got them weirdo blacked out tattoos. This guy is not someone you want to get invested in. And beyond that, he gassed against Marcos and got TK'd in the second. And now he's a 2-year-long layoff, 33 years old, fighting at altitude. If this gets to a second round, it's done by the second. But Martinez made it look easy and got it done in the first. So minus 800 on the money line, plus 120 by knockout. That did seem like it was just an off number to me. How's it going to go 15? It's not. How's he going to submit him when he's been striking since he's 2 years old? He's knocking this guy out in front of his hometown fans and feeling good about it. Also, he's physically from Mexico City, so it was really his hometown crowd. You can't get them all right. Martinez at least went and did his thing. Now, is there going to be overbuy on this guy the next time he fights? I think so. I'm not sold on his grappling yet. We haven't really seen it. I haven't, there's a lot of intangibles to why if they make him minus 500 against a decent guy next time out, maybe you don't want him. But at 26 years old, this kid's got a very bright future. He hits like an absolute hammer, and he seems to be pretty smart as well. So good Martinez gets the job done. And then because he's a top ticket guy, we were very heavy on, that was like a bit of an ease going into the rest of the card. It's like, okay, one big block out of the way, just need a few other pieces, and this will be a profitable night.
100%. We move on. Rosas defeats Morales. But I saw a lot of people in the core being like rough about it. It's just like, well, that's what Rosas always was. I had a little bit of him in like parlays for the week, but it's like I liked Martinez and Gautier a hell of a lot more this week. I liked a lot of the regional stuff a hell of a lot more than Rosas. So even if he had lost, it wouldn't have really changed too much in the grand. Like it would have still been a winning week considerably for me. But I don't know. He is what he is. He hasn't really changed all that much. No. And I feel like, I don't know, people are like, is this his ceiling? It's like, he's still only 20. Maybe he's got to change up where he trains. He's got to change up a little bit. But it's like, I will say, I'll give him a little bit of credit. I thought his cardio, even though, getting caught in submissions late, I thought his cardio actually held up better than I actually expected, and why I was afraid to just like load him up on parlays this week, because I was like, I've seen him gas at like sea level, and I know he got caught obviously in the submission attempts in round 3, but other than that, the first 2 rounds, I thought the second win in round 2, getting a whole bunch of control and stuff. It's like, it's not pretty, but it's effective. If he can fill in the other gaps, clearly one, he's got a hell of a chin on him. He's got this absolute, he's got a Drew Dober on him, but it hasn't been cracked yet. And he's got great grappling. And then the cardio is starting to come along. He's only 20 years old. It's just like, I saw people be like, is this his ceiling? Does he suck? It's just like, I don't know. What do you expect? Like, we watch all this regional stuff every single week. It's just like, what do you expect from 20-year-olds? Like, he's amazing for a 20-year-old, but because he's been around so long, it's just like everyone puts so much pressure on him. Vince is, you still have to be, you have to take your time with Raul Rosas. This guy's not anywhere close to being ready for like a championship fight or a top 10 fight even. But I still think at the end of the day, all of these fights are like lessons learned for him. So it's like, keep improving, buddy. Maybe he needs to like change up where he was going or where he's training. Some people were saying fighting nerds. I mean, everybody going to train with Kyle Baralho, who, by the way, LFA broadcast, great commentator for a guy who's like English as a second language. Just had really good insights, and his English is really good, despite having like a pretty thick accent. Really enjoyed that. Kyle's a really, really smart guy. So anybody going to train with him, especially a kid like this, I feel like, he's got all those raw intangibles. He just needs a little bit of proper guidance. I know he's training with his brothers and stuff, who we break down on the regional scene sometimes. Maybe that's not the best situation. If you really want to take this seriously, really want to become champion one day, probably need another set of eyes. But it's like, I don't think it was that bad. Like, he was definitely up 2 rounds very cleanly going into round 3.
Yeah. Honestly, I think this kid's gonna be more than fine. And everyone wrote off Chase Hooper. Like, at least Hooper was losing and getting his ass kicked. But it's like, oh man, this guy's no good. Where's his ceiling? It's like, he's just a kid, man. Like, let him fill out his frame. Hooper moved up a weight class, start to mature. Like, this guy's the same way. Like, at 20 years old, he'd be first or second year of college, and he's fighting full-grown men in the UFC in arenas and giving a good account of himself. The other thing is, every time I watch Rosa, his striking looks awful. His striking looked good here. He wasn't able to do it for a prolonged period of time, but he landed some good shots in the first round, standing against Morales, moved him back. His boxing doesn't look good. It looks undeniably better than it has in other fights. His wrestling, for a guy that comes from no wrestling background, is solid. His ability to stick to a one-dimensional game plan of just, hey, there's fans and they're yelling and they're screaming and they want to see punches, and I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to take them down and hold them down. Like, I can appreciate that. Christian Rodriguez got caught up in I'm going to go for a submission to make it look fancy. Like, no, you could have won, but you got caught, being a little bit pretty with your moves. Rosas didn't do that. He was very much a meat and potatoes. I'm just going to take you down and staple you to the mat. Now, it wasn't impressive. It wasn't really all that different than what he's been doing. But Morales is an excellent barometer test in that you can beat him, but no one ever really looks good beating him. They beat him, but no one is like, oh, they kicked his ass. It's like he's pretty competitive against most of the guys. Whether he wins or loses, he'll give you some tough moments. Rosa's first round, striking looks good. He gets the takedown. He wins the first round. It's actually a close round, but you can see the strike numbers, 11-0 with 3 minutes of control time. 100% it's a Rosa's round. The second round, he gets the takedown. This is the point where he's going to start to tire. But he did an excellent job in that he wants to take the back. Morales, wow, man, this guy's ability to just avoid the body triangle. Damn, if you're a young fighter, go learn from him. He would not get body triangled. He had that thing sniffed out well in advance. But Rosas just basically hip rode him. One hook in, hip ride, 3.5 minutes. Super boring. Paul will show you the numbers here. He got outstruck in that round, 11-5. And he had 3.5 minutes of control time and 2 takedowns. Yeah. He didn't do shit. But he knew, if I separate my hands to land a punch, it's gone. Vince is gone. Vince was like holding a cat in a bucket of water. Like, he was not accepting this at all. And so he made it dangerous. But we got Rosas up 2 rounds. Now, we got over 2.5. We got Rosas plus money by decision. None of that matters. If Rosa loses, I am colossally screwed. But I think I'm up 2 rounds, so I'm looking good in that regard. Vince is not knocking him out. Vince is not choking him out. But that would be his only path here if he's going to spring a 3rd round upset. And Paul, he almost did. It didn't seem like the Darce was all that choked. There's a Peruvian necktie and a Darce. It didn't seem like it was all that tight. But the visualization on Rosas
being tired at that point, it's like that's where a little bit of props to him again. Sorry to cut you off, but it's like young kid situation like that in front of 20,000 people in a stadium at altitude, and you're exhausted. He ain't quit. He did not quit.
Rosas arguably looked like shit, and he kind of almost lost the fight. But his undesire to quit
Yes.
Was the difference between me making a bunch of money this weekend and me losing a bunch of money this weekend.
And
for
me
that
saying
reason,
that, like, I'm not, like,
he's my boy.
I think that's a good, I think that's a good light for a 20-year-old fighter.
Yeah.
In that situation, a lot of guys who don't have, quote unquote, they're tapping on that Peruvian necktie. They're tapping on the Darce.
Twice. And I know
he has it. He has it. He just has to fill out some other things. I don't think it was that bad for him. Vince is a very respected opponent. You can argue, of course, like you can be like, oh, the money line wasn't great, but it's like through 2 rounds, the money line didn't look too bad at all. He was up very, very cleanly on those 2 rounds. So I think people are just like putting the expectations a little too high on this kid for what I would.
Yeah, well, everyone's got an expectation of greatness, right? And the difference between him and a Sage Northcutt, let's say, is like Sage was a striker. So like might be able to improve him as a striker, but there's a glaring hole in his game. This kid can grapple, no doubt about it. We can keep adding to his fundamentals and just make him bigger and bigger and bigger. Sky's the limit. The only thing I would say holds back his progression is that his dad's kind of like one of his coaches. His brother's an awful pro fighter. Yeah. Also, like they're dedicating a lot of time to. There's a family of 6. They roll around in a van everywhere. They're at all his training sessions. Similar to Sage, your family might get in the way because Sage's dad was the exact same. He says go to Team Alpha Male. One of the guys at Team Alpha Male hurt Sage, so they sent him to TriStar. Mickey Gall slammed Sage on his head one day. Sage calls his dad after a practice. His dad gets him on a plane and leaves TriStar the next day. He ruined his son's development. I'm not saying that's going to happen with Rosas, but they've got a huge investment in old Chihuahua, and they're really hoping Junior pulls this thing off. So he's got so much time, he'll be okay. But you're right. When Vince got cut from the UFC, he's beating everybody on the regional scene with the Darce choke. Like, that's his move. And when his last fight against Elijah Smith, he basically lost the entire fight, other than he almost choked the kid unconscious with the Darce choke. So they probably got ready for that move. They saw it coming, and he still ensnared him. Now, the last thing I'll leave you with, the kid shows off some resilience. He could have tapped. I'm watching this fight with my wife in bed. I watched the first, 10 fights by myself, but now it's late. I'm in bed, got it on the TV, and she's like, you're done. Like, this kid's done. And I'm like, oh, my God, I hope she's wrong. Fucking bitch, I hope she's wrong. And she was. But all the same, it's like she's echoing my sentiments. I'm like, oh, my God. He's like, oh, and then he'd get a bit of space. It's like, oh, Vince's arms are tired. Look, there's like 2 inches of space. And then it would immediately, like a goddamn boa constrictor, just tighten right back up, and his face would go gurgly again. Makes it out of the round. This is a 29-28. We take it. I'm good to go. The last thing I'll leave you with is we see some guys, it's like, oh, he's 6'4", so tall for the division. But it's also his weakness. He can get taken down. He's just too tall. This chin, oh my God. I think he can take one hell of a punch. Vince's ability to get under the chin to the neck seem real easy. His chin is so fucking big that I think his neck is vulnerable for chokes. And Vince was on his back with this thing. You know what I mean? You're on top of him, and he's choking you from his back, and he's almost putting you out. So I don't know. You're 20 years old. Sky's the limit for this kid. Find me a 20-year-old kid at 135 pounds that's going to beat him. You can't. You can't. But there's 100% a lot of people out there that can. He just needs time to just give him those bums. Give him the... He's fought some really shitty guys. He fought the guy from Alaska. He fought Jay Perrin, like just build him up nice and slow. A rematch with Christian Rodriguez warranted, not next fight, but give it a few more and then run that thing back. But Rosas still tons of potential, but he didn't make this thing look overly easy or as easy as he, maybe was thought to have.
That's that Oyer Vitas kid from Fury. Did you watch that fight?
Yeah.
Well, no, he's flyweight though, I believe.
That he's like that Russian kid. He was minus 10,000. He beat Mandala. Yeah, that kid looks unbelievably.
So I bet the other cousin, I was like, oh, some kid with this little experience, like it was 20-1. So he's like very, very small, but it's like, oh, somebody with this little experience never. And just like as soon as the bell started, I was just like, Yeah, he should have been like minus 350,000. Like there's
Well, he
no
fought
way,
like Makayev. The fight started.
no way this
he
kid was
ran
ever losing.
right across. He was like Chimaev or Muhammad Makayev. Like he just darts right across the ring, dumps him on the ground, takes his back, chokes him out instantly. And the guy's a 10-fight veteran who had fought good guys.
He's only 125 though, so I mean
Yeah.
that kid. Watch out for that. That kid's gonna be.
That kid's gonna be a.
Sometimes you just watch. You watch some of this regional stuff, and it's just like once you see that talent at that level, just roll in. You're just like, all right, I'll see you soon, buddy. You're gonna be in the UFC probably quicker than you think. Moving on. It's time for me to take a little drink here, coach, because where I was dead right about Atiba Goat. You were dead right about this. CLV and all that stuff be damned. It was always Cháirez. Vergara got absolutely flatlined. So
yeah, I mean, I got smoked so bad in Medina that it was like Cháirez needs to not only win, or I'm doing 4 shoeies on this show and ruining my daughter's birthday party later today, or he's got to come through for me. I really need him. I need him to make it look just as good as Paul's guy looked, because it's squeaking out a decision is not going to cut it. The biggest point that I was drumming home on the preview show this week is that every time Cháirez fights, they want to take him down. Everybody wants to take him down. So you'd never really seen him in a full 15 minutes of just stand with this guy. I think he's actually a good striker. This was a spot where I think he could have knocked out Vergara. He obviously hurts him with the left hook, sits him on his ass, but then jumps on his back and grabs the choke. He's got an excellent guillotine choke, but obviously he's got a good rear naked choke as well. Just a physically strong guy. It was early in the fight. He drops him. He takes his back. He chokes him out. Vergara, it's no disrespect to him. I like his fighting style. I like that he brings the pace. I like that his head coach, Pete Spratt, the secret weapon, my boy. But ultimately, his last couple of fights, he's been getting dropped. The Daniel Assertive fight, he got dropped twice. He wins, but I think at flyweight, if you can't take a punch 100%, it's going to be a problem, because they throw so many goddamn punches. So just Cháirez at home gets the win. This one ended quick. We can really just move on. There's nothing to figure here, but I think he's decent. Is he a world beater? No. Is he a top 10 guy? Yeah, I think he can be a top 10 guy. Top 5 guy? No, I really don't think so. But he's serviceable. He's going to win some more fights. I like the guy. Hopefully they give him more strikers or more guys that are willing to exchange with him, and I think he's going to put his best foot forward. If they give him guys that specifically can take him down and grind him, that's still going to be the hole in his game. But 3 fights left in the card at this point. We've had some ups, we've had some downs. Overall, it's been good. I didn't touch this over-under because I thought it had a violent act to it, and I'm just such a coward. I don't bet these unders as much as I really should. I just had that straight-up Cháirez ticket, and thankfully he cashes. So moving into the co-main event, it's like I just need one of 2 things to happen, or both. Dober win, specifically by knockout, or this main event to go to decision.
I just needed the under 1.5 in this.
Have been with you on that.
Under 1.5. It actually got better on fight day, and I'm like, have any of you guys watched a Manuel Torres fight? Like, somebody's getting nuked here, and that was just like it made my entire weekend like that. There was so much coming down to it. It's just like, mere mortals, Cody, would hedge in that type of situation. It's just like, I didn't make these bets to try to win half of them. There was no hedging. It's like, I think that this under 1.5, even though it was like, I had it minus 205 in some tickets. I had it minus 170 on fight day. It was like minus, I think the number went down. Like, there were a lot of people betting. I guess it looks like it closed here. Like, you'll see the crazy amount of action here actually on this under. So it's just like literally popping around all week. So it's like it got up to minus 150. But yeah, even on fight day, it went minus 168 at Bet Online was like the best number it went to. It's just like the whole week I was just like, yep, a little bit nibble at it. So it's just like everything kind of converged from like LFA and FCR and everything just merged onto this this one, the crown jewel of the week. And that was this under 1.5. I had under 2.5 in some other I had some other books with parlays and stuff, because I was like, all right, well, if it somehow gets over 7.5 minutes, it's like at least I'll be I really don't think that this is going 2.5 rounds. So yeah, this was a little bit of a tense moment, but it was not even that tense, because I was just like,
No.
Somebody's getting a damn finish in this fight. So yeah, this was a great moment in Paul Chag history. Your thoughts?
Yeah, people like to throw out the term free money, but of course, as you know, there is no such thing as free money. This is one of those rare exceptions that defies that completely. There was no free money to be had on Dober losing. Sorry, there's no free money on Manuel Torres winning. There's no free money on Manuel Torres by knockout.
No.
There's free money on the under 1.5 rounds. It doesn't matter who wins. There's just no way it's going long, and that's how this one exactly played out. I will say I'm not sure why it didn't take more. Like in hindsight, it's like this thing, I didn't bet it at all in terms of the prop. I had the Dober by knockout. I didn't have like the over-under total. But yeah, why wasn't it under 1.5 minus 400 or minus 500? Manuel Torres to that point had 18 career fights. 17 of them have ended in the first round. This is a 1.5. This is a 1.5, Paul. Even if it was to get out of the first round, which ain't gonna happen. Even if it gets out of the first round, you still have a half a round to work with. Oh man,
that was my entire logic. I was just like, this guy literally hasn't been out of the. Now it's 12 fights in a row. He hasn't been out of the first round. He is Mexican Terrence McKinney.
Yeah, you can go to Tapology, and there's a couple fights where they don't have it listed.
Yeah.
Go to SureDog, they do. They're the first round.
Okay, so it's more split decision in 2018 against Enrique Gonzalez.
It's the only time he's ever been out of the first round. Is that one fight? It's a split decision loss. It's the only time he's been out of the first round. Yeah, that's a wild one. Now, I'll admit, I think Drew Dober can win this. They fight 10 times. Dober can win 5 of them. I think he could have won as much as he lost. But all week, he's been drumming up this point about how I'm going to be way smarter, and I'm going to approach this way smarter. And we're doing all this stuff to fight way smarter, not get hit as much. And I'm Justin Gaethje light. Dog, you look like non-alcoholic Justin Gaethje out there. This is a firefight. You need to unload on him before he unloads on you. But what he kept
your durability is not what it used to be. Old Dober, before the chin got cracked, would have won this fight.
He would have. But new Dober, it's like this kid cracks hard. And yes, Ignacio beat him his last time out. You watch that fight, he rocks Ignacio, who has one hell of a chin on him. So Dober at one point would have gotten rocked just the same as Ignacio. He would have been fine. This instance, it's like that right hand, it landed. Dober took the first one. It's like, dude, you need to stop waiting at range. He's bigger, he's taller, and he's throwing. He's being more aggressive. He's throwing. You're waiting, you're gauging distance, you're trying to pick up his beat. You're not throwing. He's just going to clunk you. The second one he threw, it missed. Oh my God, it would have ended it right then and there, 100%. It misses, but you can see the first one lands partial. The second one misses. It's like, Dober, like get going, man. Stop pressuring in the pocket and not throwing anything. And then the third one sits him. Credit to Dober. The first one sits him, and I don't think he's fine as much as he's okay. But the hammer fist from him holding on to the ankle. By the second one, he's out. There's 10 more after that. You got the commentators yelling, stop the fight. Really bad stoppage. Kudos to Drew. He's standing up afterwards like, well, to start the fight. I'm good to go. It's like, damn, dog, your brain works in crazy ways. Other guys are getting stretchered out of here. Drew Dober just wakes back up after getting just bad stoppage. And he's fine. He's having a conversation with the commission guy. And the commission, you can read his lips. The commission guy says something to him, and he says to him, I don't remember that, right? But he's totally fine.
He went full Randy Marsh. He's like, I didn't hear no bell. And it's just like,
I didn't hear no bell. If this is left way, they would have let him go. They'd be like, okay, man, no problem. But it's MMA, and the follow-up ground and pound. The knockdown, Dober springs to the ankle, but oh man, that could have gotten stopped many of times over. Again, it was a car wreck kind of fight. I think Dober could have won in that car wreck.
For sure.
But he just didn't let his hands go, and Torres beat him to the punch. So all kudos to him in the world. Should have gone with the under 1.5 all day. And then just like the last little funny thing I'll admit is Matty Betts. Good guy, right? Used to follow the show.
Yep.
He's on a total like heater right now. Like last week, he absolutely crushes it, makes a couple $100,000. He's betting large units. You know, he's kind of like the talk of the town. A lot of people are gravitating towards him. Got that fan base thing going. So I don't really go on Twitter anymore. But when I pop up, it's usually the stuff that has the most interactions, because that's why I put it up the top of your feed. So he had this interaction with this guy this week. The guy's like, listen, I need $400. I'm in a custody battle. I'm going to lose my daughter. I need $400 for the lawyer fee. I only got $100. You got to give me something at plus 400 that's a guaranteed lock. And he gave him it's a 2-leg ticket, which included this under 1.5, which is easy money.
Yep.
Unexplicably, Rosas by submission was the other leg, which never even come close. And this guy now probably does not have custody of his daughter. So don't bet what you can't afford to lose. It's the moral of the story. But there was only one free money on that ticket. It's the same free money Paul hit, which was that under 1.5. God damn! Should have put my life savings on it. But it's a coulda, shoulda, woulda game, Paul. So just needed Moreno in over 4.5, and things were going to be okay. Thankfully, we got that. But yeah, Dober, it's the split differences of having good weekends, great weekends, and just those ones that we all dream about.
Yeah.
Jono chip chase on BKFC, not necessarily.
I had a great, like I had the one of those weekends that you dream about. So
yeah, and it's a splitting hairs type game. So
and it could have been one that like I never even thought was possible if Jono chip chase or some other guys came through. But it's like when you're making as many little you're making so many little parlays and stuff like that, it's just like you just have to. It's how you manage it. Yeah, it's how you bet it, how you manage it, and how you stack the guys that you're most confident in on a lot of these.
Well, when you round robin play, you're like, okay, this guy lost, so
not round robin, but
no, I know, but just in general, when you're round robin playing and you're playing it's like, okay, this guy lost, so these ones are done, but these ones are still okay, and this guy loses, okay, now some of those are gone, but these ones are okay. But if you have that weekend where just nobody shits in the pie,
it's always
you have like 45 parlays, and it
would have been outrageous the amount. But like
we'll get there eventually. But this was one of those close, but not. I mean, it was a really good weekend. I'm not going to complain. Yeah, I'm not gonna act like I'm not very, very happy with how everything went. But if you're dreaming of, that's greed, and that's how you get yourself. Yeah, don't bother. This is a good weekend. We'll talk about the event. Went the way we should have. Happy, and we'll roll on to next week.
And like rather than like one PRP where it's just like you need every single one of those like to hit, it's just like maybe rather than putting one bet down for the week, it's just like make like $25 bets. If it's like one $100 bet, maybe make it like 5, and then like mitigate your ins and outs and don't be fully invested in one type of guy. I don't know. That's what's been working for me. I'm trying to relay that in the Discord and all that type of stuff. But the last month has been the best month of my betting life, to be perfect. Outside of the great simulation racket of 2020 with Pogi Rob and other people who will not be named, but
for legal reasons.
But like that was the best, but like that was a totally different, like in terms of like normal sports betting and stuff, the last month has been better than I ever thought when we like first started doing this. So like onwards and upwards from here. Let's keep grinding. The best motivator is money in life. It's just like it's Sunday. Usually I would just be like, oh, I'm just gonna chill, but it's like there's a lot of MMA cards next week, and better jump into some tape after we record here. So very, very motivated. If you're interested and you're on YouTube right now, hop on over. The link's in the description. If you're not, we will break down the main event here for you. Moreno, Erceg. People were talking about this being like real close. I think you made the argument that like rounds 2 and 3 Erceg won, but like 1, 4, and 5 were absolute slam dunk no doubters. So the final scorecards were 2, like I don't know. Either way, Moreno won. Moreno won very
across the board.
Was 49-46 across the board.
Yeah.
It's like Moreno won very, very cleanly in this fight. I wasn't on Twitter. I saw that you wrote in the Discord that like, oh, people are saying that was like way more close, and like frankly, but like going into round 5, Moreno was up like it was like minus 325 at one of my books, and I'm like, well, that doesn't really make any sense. I think he's up. I think Erceg needs a finish right now. Like that's where I was at that point. Yeah, your thoughts.
Yeah, the only reason I'm kind of like, I don't know, see why people are saying it's ultra competitive, and I guess I'd have to rewatch it. It's the end of the night. I'm mostly just hoping this fight goes the distance more than I need specifically Moreno to win, but I'm still judging it. I'm still watching it. I'm not, I'm focused. The first round, Moreno, he wins it. They will show you by the numbers. Paul, you got the numbers there?
Yep,
Oh, yeah, you got, okay. So they'll show you Erceg outlands him 25-21, but all the bigger shots are Moreno. That first round, he looks really good. In fact, that first round, I'm thinking to myself, I might be a sucker here. Like maybe Erceg is going to get knocked out. We talked about he got knocked out in his last fight with Cháirez France, and you and I both agree, don't mean shit. This guy still can take it. Yeah. That first round, it's like Moreno's landing flush. There's an uppercut to a left hook that kind of not sits him down, but really rocks him. He's got a huge speed advantage. He's just flowing out there. I'm in trouble. There's no doubt about it. Moreno wins the first round. The second round, again, it's going to show you that Moreno gets outstruck, but I honestly think that it's much of the same of the first. Not nearly as decisive as the first. You see that Erceg's starting to find his range. He's landing some jabs. He's landing some kicks. And that's all he did for the entire fight was just some jabs and some kicks. Whereas Moreno's moving around. He's landing some good counter shots. I wouldn't say necessarily he's got this guy bleeding or swelling up, but a couple jabs and a couple leg kicks versus a solid right hand or a nice little uppercut or a good left hook. I got the second round for Brandon Moreno as well. The third round is the round that I give for Steve Erceg, but the numbers they don't tell the whole story. Erceg doubles him up. He doubles him up with a lot of jabs, It's like he's moving forward, he's jabbing. That's it. Moreno lands half as many, but I think he, counts himself pretty good. So now we're 3 rounds into a 5-round fight. There's a argument that Moreno's won all 3, but very likely this thing's 2-1. I personally have it scored 2-1. There's 2 rounds left. Moreno, he's not tired. Erceg hasn't done anything for the first 15 minutes other than jabs and leg kicks. They put up the live line. Now, pre-fight, Moreno's like minus 250. He's won 2 of the 3 rounds, maybe all 3 rounds, but definitely 2 of the 3 rounds. He just needs to win 1 more round. 2 rounds left. He just needs to win 1 more. And this thing's money in the bank locked in. And he's dropped 100 points from where he was to start the fight. In a fight he's winning. There's a pre-fight favorite who's currently winning a fight, and the line's dropped 100 points down on him. So I couldn't really figure it out. And he's at home. So is this thing really close? Is it a lot closer than I'm thinking it is in my head? And if so, is it so close that the Mexicans are going to screw Brandon Moreno over? Like, am I that far off? So now it's like, okay, well, this is an important 4th round. It's minus 145 Moreno. I think he's winning. Time to hammer this live line. But there's an important 4th round, which Moreno wins. Now he's worst case scenario up 3-1. Erceg needs a finish, which is not coming. So it's like now even more so, this guy's going to win the fight. And then he wins the 5th round, and there's some him and haw, and like Erceg did pretty good. It's like, did he? Or did he lose 4-1? Pretty clean. Argument 5-0, but let's be generous enough. 4-1, he loses.
Stats lie, and that's the thing about, because like people will show the stats after him and be like, well, actually, he was just like, not all strikes are made equal. It's just like Atiba Gautier. That fight was over. If Atiba Gautier hits you, and then Medina hits you with a jab, it's just like, well, one of those things is not like the other. Like one of those things is probably worth 5 or 10 times the amount. Maybe not 10, but like 5 times the amount as the other. Like
Jose Aldo Rob Font, Font like triples him up, but it's like every time Jose hits him, he's cooked. Like,
exactly.
He's got to count for something, man.
Yeah, and it's the judges standing cage side. It's like they don't see the stats. The stats. That's why with all of this stuff, it's like stats will work to a certain extent, but it's like, it's what those stats, like what are those strikes? And I thought it was 3-1 Moreno. I gave him. I thought at the very least it was going to be 1-4-5, but like I actually gave him round 2 as well. So 49-46. I love the judges. In fairness, is like judges were pretty darn good. And I lost Pichel, a Pichel wager. I lost a Hubbard wager. It's just like, but they were both fights. So it's just like I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to say robbery, anything like that. It's like I thought the judges in Mexico City called a fair shake outside of round 2 for Rafa Garcia, which I think is crazy. I thought that was a very clear Vince round, but I wasn't screaming robbery.
I agree, but what I can say on that fight is when I was watching the second round, I'm like, I think Vince is winning this. And then they brought up the live numbers for that round, and it was like 29-9.
Yeah, well, I would just literally finish
that. I was like, whoa.
I literally just finished having a thing that like stats lie. The better shots were getting landed.
That's what I'm saying. It was the same case as stats lie, like you're saying. It's like sometimes the judges can't see the numbers. Then they show you the number, and you're like, really? You're watching it. You're watching it. Your brain's not really registered that one guy's getting tripled up. Yeah. So to me, that was much of the same. I'd have to really watch back and say, oh man, you know what? Brandon Moreno did. Look at that. Look at that fourth round. Erceg struck him 25-19. Maybe I'm way off on that, but I'll tell you something. Erceg, my boy, I like this guy. I do. Nothing's changed in my opinion about him. I like him. I'm really happy that this thing went the distance. So he did his part in helping that to cash. But the bottom line is, if someone was like, what's Erceg? What's the best quality about him? It's like, oof, this guy's a big flyweight, man. It's like, what's his striking like? It's okay. What's his wrestling like? It's okay. What's his grappling like? You know, it's okay. What's the best thing about him? This guy's a big flyweight, man. It's like, well,
he's a generalist,
He almost beat Pantoja, right? And it's like, well, didn't this guy almost win a world title? Came down to the 5th round, and it's like, yeah. And it's like, well, what did he do against Pantoja?
Made a bonehead mistake late.
But still, it's like, what did he do good against Pantoja? It's like, he's a lot bigger than him. Like that's kind of his real X factor. Is he's big for the weight class. So even though he's just jabbing and just doing leg kicks, it's hard to hurt him. It's hard to move him back. It's hard to really shake him off his game, even though it's just a lot of jab, low kick, jab, low kick, jab, low kick. He's steady. Paul just said generalist, the absolute best way to put it. He's an advanced generalist that can fight. He can beat all the best flyweights in the division, and he can likely lose to a bunch of these flyweights in the division as well, just simply based on he's not.
There's a lot of generalists, and then there's generalists who also have like one thing that's like elite. I wouldn't say anything that he has is like elite. You know, Pantoja's an elite grappler. When he actually gets you down to the mat, it's like he can find your neck, find a finish. Moreno's got elite durability.
Yeah, Royval can catch you in the submission, plus just insane output.
Kai Kara France has elite power for 125 pounds.
Like got elite athleticism.
And I would say Erceg doesn't have those one of those real elite traits. And I think that's going to hold him back over the course of his career. But you're right. He could win a fight against literally any of these guys on any given night.
Yeah, well, some people had it 2-2 going into the 5th, which Moreno won the 5th, takes down, minute of control time seals the deal. But all the same, people had it close. They had the fight with Pantoja close. He can fight all the best close. But when it popped up, it was Brandon Moreno's number 2 in the division and Erceg's number 8 in the division. I did have to stop and be like, there's not 7 better guys, but we just named them all right now. And yeah, there is 7 guys ranked higher than him because they bring something different to the table that they can use to capitalize and win that big fight. Whereas he's 3-2 in the UFC, and he almost won the flyweight title, and he just pushed a former champion with 3 times the amount of high-level experience to the brink. Not to the brink, but gave him a scrap. You know what I'm saying? That's flyweight, dude. Anybody can beat anybody, and they're all really good. So, yeah, happy with the outcome this week's card. But, you know, in this game, there's always another show next week. And so that's what we got to jump right into. There's a PFL on Thursdays. It's a little early. And then another UFC on the Saturday.
And yeah, just finally, because I was just like, you know what? I didn't look at anybody else's scorecards. Because, you know what? Social media, especially like Twitter, the X machine, not a good place to look for scorecards. Why? Because we follow a bunch of gamblers. And if I've learned anything over the years, me and you are pretty good at it. We can watch a fight, whether we win or lose, and be very, very honest with the assessment. Sometimes I even judge fights that I have money on with like a worst case scenario type of mentality.
That's what I judge everything on. It's like, I'm going to lose my money. I'm going to lose my money. Someone will be like, no, dude, you won that round. It's like, no, because it's too close. I have to assume I lost. It was too close.
Literally every media score was for Moreno. Most of them had the 49-46, very likely because they gave Erceg round 3 and there were a couple 48, 47s. So I don't know if there was any like Erceg got robbed, but if you thought that, you're either A, biased, or 2, you don't know how to score fights. So maybe find a new hobby.
Yeah. Wow.
Put it
Listen,
bluntly.
yeah.
If you have fun, but like don't put your lawyer fees on these fights if you got to pay your
I
lawyer.
know. I felt so bad. Honestly, a part of me was like, listen, dude, you had a good weekend. If the reality is if this guy is going to lose his daughter over something like this, like maybe it's worth reaching out. And I did look on his timeline. I can't find it. So I don't know if it was deleted or if it was a bad look after a loss. I don't know. Matty Betts is a good guy. He's been on an absolute heater. I'm sure he covered it.
Noticed.
But part of me was like, I got 2 daughters as well. And my buddy's going through divorce. It's like there's a part of me that was like, should I reach out and just like make this guy whole? What it's no skin off my back. You're being a good guy. But if this guy put himself in this position to begin with, there's no helping him, Paul. You can give a man a fish and he eats for a day. You could teach a man a fish, he eats for a lifetime. This guy's following smart minds. He's doing his right thing. He's obviously too erratic. He's obviously doesn't have good bankroll management.
You gotta know
his wife's probably got a zillion other things to say about him that are bad qualities. I don't have any other ones other than I can't say I haven't used my last dollar to make a payment for something back when I was a kid. But at this point, you're an adult. You have kids. Like you gotta do something different. So in the end, I did not reach out to this guy, and I did not attempt to make him whole for no other reason than do you reach out, you give him the money, and he says, "Okay, I need $400 for the lawyer." But there's some college basketball going on this afternoon. I could pay my lawyer, dude, and I could pay my rent payment for this month. Like, you just, you can't. It's the same thing when you give a guy a pick, and they're like, well, I lost money on it. So, well, I gave you 6 picks. Well, I lost money on it. How'd you lose money on it? Well, because here's a good story. My dad never raced a fixed race in his life, a horse racer, right? And we'd go to this Chinese restaurant all the time, and the guy would not accept any money from my dad. Always went there for free. He'd be very, very mad at you if you tried to pay. My dad would always slip a good tip for the waiter or the waitress. But this guy the biggest thing is that at the end of your meal, he'd lock the place down. He's from Hong Kong. He'd have a smoke right in the Chinese food restaurant. He'd bring out a race program, and he'd be like, just mark it. Just tell me what you like. Nothing's fixed, but just what do you like? And he'd go in and gamble it. So one day my dad's like, listen, you're such a good guy. You're always helping me out. I am going to guarantee you that I win race 7. Not only am I going to guarantee you that I win race 7, my buddy Clark right here, he's in the race as well. He's going to finish second. Now they only knew that because my dad knew he had the best horse in the race. And he knew Clark had a really good horse that wasn't as good as his. So they guarantee the Chinese guy that they're going to go 1-2. And they go 1-2. And he comes out for the winner's circle. My dad's like, yo, you got it. And he's all mad. I bet the trifecta. He added a third horse to the leg and blew the whole thing because he knew the 1-2 was a lock. So all I got to do is just add that third one, and I'm money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then this guy had a lot of money, and this guy was a big end, high end Hong Kong high roller. Probably didn't mean anything, but it's the human greed that sometimes you have a really good weekend, and then next weekend it's got to be bigger. And then it's got to be bigger. And it doesn't. Just stay the course, man. So I hope that guy makes out okay. I do.
Before tape, and I plan on starting to get into it actually later on today. It's like I look at next week's card, and like there's not as many spots that are just jumping off the page as like free squares for me. But it's early in the week, and I'm going to watch tape, and there's some unknown fighters that are like making their debuts and stuff. So maybe that'll all change after I start watching tape. But like you have to only really make the bets if you think you're gonna win, and you may be wrong sometimes, but like it's never the plays. It's how you play them and how you manage your risk and so on and so forth. So everyone knows that already. But I mean, we've been doing this 15. I've been doing this for like 15 years now. So it's
long time.
It's a grind. It's like I was like I was like a $5-10 better 15 years ago when I first started doing this. Times change, but the entire time throughout my entire process and getting to where I am now, I never put myself in a situation where I needed this to win to pay my rent or something like that. It's just like I knew what I had. and slowly kind of built things up. So I've always had a little bit of like decent, I would say decent is a thing, like decent self-control. I get greedy like the rest of you, but I've never put myself in a situation where it's just like I'm gambling more than I can afford to lose. I think that's a valuable lesson for everybody. You can see big tickets from, Matty Betts, who has absolutely been crushing. Those show up on my timeline from time to time. But yeah, he's obviously working with a bigger bankroll than you. So it's like, you don't need to have $1,000 on that, that 80 to 1 parlay. Maybe for you it's $1. Maybe it's $5. Like what? It's got to be. You have to be realistic. Nobody's getting rich or getting rich quick in this game. The best people usually follow kind of a long term. Took a long time. You lose a lot, you learn a lot, and that's how you get and grow. And like I've never stopped learning. Like that's the great thing about betting. It's like the markets change, the situations change, and there's always more to learn. So people are like, "Shut up, old man," with this TED talk and inspirational. But it's like things have really turned a corner. I feel like in the last little bit, particularly with like the regional stuff. And yeah, I've had ups and downs and good times and some bad times, but feel like I'm coming into my own at this stage. I'm almost 40 now, Cody. It's been a grind. You can see it's like this is the face of a 40-year-old gambler.
No, you know what? The comment section always used to be like, "Stop talking, Paul. Nobody wants to hear it." And now they're calling you Paul the Chef Shaughnessy over in the Discord. So Paul's been cooking up, and we're all here for it.
Yeah, YouTube still hates me, but I
don't read YouTube comments.
I actually haven't read YouTube
comments in a while. It's super vile. But what I will say is over on the Discord, not to try to pump it up too much and this and that, but it feels to me like what Twitter was to me 10 years ago. It's like a smaller community with good guys that want to talk fights. Twitter eventually got to be a very large community where just awful takes is what people want to hear, and they want to hear you say something crazy, and they want to hear you say something brash. And I remember seeing comments on our videos like they're too nice to both fighters. They always say, "Oh, this guy could win if he does this, and this." It's like, well, yeah, we're giving you the other side of it. Not everybody's.
That's why it's not.
They don't want to hear
1
that.
million.
They want to hear this guy's gonna knock him out in the first round, take it to the bank. It's the lock of the week. That's what people want to hear, and honestly, that's just
not how gambling works. There's always ways for these things to go wrong, and it's about mitigating the risk along the way.
Well, that's it. Like, shout out to my boy James, Lucrative. I like this guy, and I like his marketing. It's not my kind of marketing, but I can appreciate it. He plays a character. But you got that meme with Drew Dober, that caricature with the chin, and it's like, ain't knocking this. It's funny. I've seen Drew Dober get knocked out in 3 of his last 5 fights. Or they'll tell you he didn't get knocked out in Brad Riddell fight, but watch the last 3 seconds of the fight and tell me he's not knocked out. Yeah, like it sounds good. He can't be knocked. I've seen it. It's a very plausible situation. You know what everyone should have done in that exact situation? Paul Shaughnessy's under 1.5. God damn.
No,
God damn. It's like, why would you?
It was always the under 1.5.
Why would you climb up this goddamn 15-foot tree to get a coconut and risk your life when there's a perfectly fine one right on the ground? It fell naturally. Why don't you just pick it up, man? Yeah, that was the sharp side of that. So, anyways, yeah, I'm happy with how this UFC played out. We just got to get back on the tape study, roll on to next week. Kind of looking forward to like one of those weeks off, but they don't exist anymore because we've got regionals and we've got 3 or 4 regionals. And so as long as the bets still keep coming in, it keeps you energetic. You go on a cold streak, you're going to get down on yourself, but that hasn't happened in the last almost a month now. So
especially because the regionals have just been popping. Yeah,
this week you have a lot more outs if something goes wrong.
The things that we're going to focus on the most will probably be, we'll have a PFL show that's probably going to get released on like Wednesday, maybe Tuesday. I don't know. We haven't really fully I'm going to start taping PFL, to be perfectly honest, today. because that show's on Thursday. Then we've got Octagon 69. Nice. That's on Saturday, and I like the Octagon promotion. Has Bet Online been carrying those ones?
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, good. Okay, like I kind of like it. The problem is like you can't really watch the fights, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, there's been some okay stuff. It's a very good promotion over in Germany there. So they're cooking up some decent stuff over there. There's an Invicta card, but it's like I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. There's just so much stuff to
I
tape
will
every
do the
single week.
Invicta because I physically have to work it over at Fight Network.
Are you gonna tape it? You're gonna tape it for the boys?
Oh yeah.
What a legend.
100%.
Okay, I was writing in the group chat that like, or in the Invicta tab that I'm like, this looks like torture to me.
Well,
So
honestly, so Fight Network owns Invicta.
And then there's 2 BKFC cards this week as well.
There's another 2 BKFC. See, that I didn't notice. I knew there's one BKFC card.
2 in Dubai.
Okay, so I mean, there's an Invicta, there's an Octagon, there's 2 BKFCs.
BKFC Cody is what they've been calling it.
Well, you know what I mean? We got to end this show now and jump off.
Start taping.
Yes, right.
I'll jump into PFL. See, we're having our meeting right here on the spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't joined, and you're interested in doing all of the like so much extra stuff going on behind the scenes every single week, it's a grind for us, but we've been successful, so we stay motivated, we stay focused. Yeah, links in the description. Pop on over. If not, we will see you again this time next week. Peace.